Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB postgame show after the very first game that kicks off the 2025 campaign. And everybody will tell you how much preseason doesn't matter and why it doesn't matter for this reason. And I get all that, but I'm not interested in starting on that. That was an awesome football game. There was so much good to take from that game as an Eagles fan. There's some things that we got to discuss that maybe we have some questions and some current concerns on. We'll talk about those. Leave your comments in the chat. Don't forget to hit that like button. Everybody subscribe to this channel. We appreciate you all for being here, for watching. The Philadelphia Eagles win the game. All right. They win it at 34-27 tonight. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot more impressive tonight than I thought unimpressive. All right. There's plenty of different things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk to John McMullen a little bit later on in the show. He's going to join us after he gets done the locker room work that goes on after a game. That's obviously goes in. I'll take some great comments from the great people of JAKIB Nation. You know, I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. 34-27 is your final score. Before I get into some of my takeaways, and I have quite a few of them, I will rattle off the box score for you guys, all right? Tanner McKee tonight was 20 for 25 with 252 yards and 2 touchdowns, all right? 135 rating for my boy Tanner McKee. So a very impressive performance from Tanner. Quarterback number 2, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He came in quarter number 3 tonight. He was 5 for 8 for 56 yards and an 83 rating. Not great. Kyle McCord, who I was super excited for, shout out St. Joe's Prep, 1 for 5, 8 yards, 1 interception, and how about this? A 0.0 rating. So not great from Kyle McCord, his first NFL action. Moving into the running backs, you got Will Shipley, who started the game off strong, 7 carries, 48 yards, including that 38-yard one. He broke free, looked good on that run. Shanderick Powell, 6 carries, 32 yards with a 19-yard long. He had some nice runs tonight. A.J. Dillon, who I thought really showed some things, 5 carries, 27 yards with a long of 10. And I know the stats don't jump off the page, but you hear about A.J. Dillon. We talk about A.J. Dillon. We think about A.J. Dillon. And what do we think? Physical runner, downhill, north to south. I saw A.J. I saw him scooting out there, man. I saw him juking and shaking and baking and cutting, making people miss, catching some balls out of the backfield in the passing game. Man, I thought that A.J. Dillon looked awesome tonight. Keelan Robinson, how about that? He led the team with 10 carries, 27 yards with a long of 14. The long of 14 was a pretty impressive run, but outside of that, nothing great. And then you move into the receiving. I got a new guy on this team. There's a new guy on this team that I like, everybody. And I will start the campaign here on JAKIB Sports for him to make the final 53, which is an uphill battle. I will start the campaign for this guy to make the football team. That would be none other than Darius Cooper, who had 6 receptions for 82 yards on 7 targets tonight and a beautiful over-the-shoulder touchdown catch. That guy, to me, looked like a slightly smaller, shorter, stockier version of a hybrid of Debo and AJ. Now, I know those are crazy players. He's obviously not as good as those players. I'm saying the skill set that he had. He's running the ball. He's cutting across the middle. He's using a big frame body to make tough contested catches, reaching out, kind of bullying cornerbacks on their routes to go and find the football, to get the football, to corral the football. Awesome performance from Darius Cooper. He's one of my big winners of the night. 6 catches, 82 yards, I mentioned, and the touchdown on 7 targets. Johnny Wilson, how about him tonight? We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to look for. It started prettier than it ended, but He started, man, with those 3 monster catches. 3 catches for 73 yards tonight for Johnny Wilson with a long of 28. He did have 6 total targets. He started out with 3 for 3 on targets and catches. So final 3 targets he did not bring in for probably not all his own reasons. I think DTR sailed one on him. There was a couple different things there, but great performance from Johnny Wilson. I thought he really showed a lot, probably solidified his role on this football team. Taylor Morin had 2 catches for 30 yards on 4 targets. Kylan Granson had 3 catches for 28 yards. I thought he had 2 nice back-to-back catches from our guy Tanner McKee with 3 targets and 3 catches there. Jahan Dotson looked very good early. All right, how about that touchdown pass he had early, getting in space, quick slant route, boom, left the defender in the dust, gets there, uses the hands, catches the ball, takes it run after the catch into the end zone. I mean, great stuff. Excuse me, not end zone. That's when he brought it to the 4-yard line. I apologize. He didn't have a touchdown catch. But that slant route down right in front of the goal line was tremendous. I loved it. It was great to see from Jahan Dotson. So well done by him. A.J. Dillon, I mentioned he had a couple catches in the game. 3 receptions for 27 yards on 3 targets. E.J. Jenkins, not his best performance, 2 for 20. Anaya Smith, 2 for 11. Giles Jackson, 1 for 8. Nick Muse, 1 for 6. Will Shipley, 1 for 4. And that's going to do it in that regard. Ty Robinson logged his very first NFL sack. It won't count once we flip over to the regular season, but nonetheless, I thought he showed some good things tonight with the way he played the game. Got to the backfield plenty of times. Thought he got pressure up the middle. Thought he was aggressive, fast, quick, looking for the quarterback. He might be one of those guys that is a better game player than practice player. So great stuff. A lot of great takeaways. We're going to get into each of the players that I talked about, some of the guys that stuck out to you. We won't go to the negatives too. I'm not going to start there, but I'll mention them. Keely Ringo, put in a paper shredder, put in a blender, put in whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is you want to call it. Keely Ringo was eating Jamar Chase's dust. It was like a horse race. It was like the Kentucky Derby. Jamar was kicking up dirt, and Ringo was so far behind him, he was eating it. It was blocking his face mask. So Ringo, not the best performance tonight. That wasn't the only play. He didn't look great. Just not the best performance from Keely Ringo. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm completely out on the player, but I do want everybody to realize that we have a rare window in front of us, a very rare window where you won the Super Bowl, dominated it, and you've come back for a new season, and it's common thinking across the NFL world that the Eagles have the best roster in football. We cannot afford to let Keely Ringo or anybody else get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish this year. In the same breath, while Keely Ringo had the ugly splash play against him, Adoree Jackson looked like a fish out of water. He looked like a fish out of water. All right? Too small. Didn't know where to be. Looked like he was uninterested at times. Head in the clouds a little bit. Wasn't aggressive. Wasn't physical at the catch point. Didn't really do well in coverage. I was really like, what did this guy do well? Now it's one preseason game. Hey, maybe he bounces back. But I think this is why on Monday evening of this week, Howie Roseman made a trade at around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night and brought in Jacorian Bennett. And many wondered, did we want to give up Thomas Booker? And I'm with you. Thomas Booker was a good player. What can this guy do? I think that guy's going to be better than both of those guys. I have a feeling Jacorian Bennett could be our starting outside corner this year. I have no evidence to believe that other than what I've watched so far. Jacorian was on the football field last year. He played at a pretty high level before November when he was taken off the field, put on IR for a shoulder injury. If he can stay healthy, I believe he will be the guy. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, but I can't sit here and lie. I love this team like all of you. I cannot sit here and say Keely Ringo is inspiring confidence. Now let's get to some of the good stuff. Again, thanks everybody for being here. We got a good crowd in here already. We're going to be live for probably the next hour or so. I'm going to get Johnny Mack in here once he's done in the locker room. I'll get his takeaways. Plenty of names I want to talk about. We'll get into some of those. I'll also take some of the great comments from the great people of JAKIB Nation. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Drop your comments down below. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's dive into this football game. Game started out great. Tanner McKee, let's go right to him. Quarterback of the game tonight, player of the game tonight. I mentioned he was 20 of 25. Just an awesome performance. Can I just say that even leaving the numbers out of it for a second, I don't really care. I mean, they're awesome, but leave them out of it for just the sake of this conversation right now. I like the way Tanner plays the position. I love watching him man the offense. He gets the ball out. He's got an awesome awareness in the pocket. The way he sees the game. He feels the pressure, knows when to roll out, knows when to throw the ball away, looks for his receivers. How about that one throw early in the game? I want to say it was Cooper on the sideline. I forget exactly who it was. And pressure got to Tanner. He stepped outside Matt Pryor, who was your right tackle tonight, and he not sidearmed it, but he just puts the ball on a rope to the outside on the sideline, to the right sideline. I was like, that's just a great football throw. That's not an easy throw to make. Just a great football throw. I think he's so in command when he's out there. You know, I thought Ross Tucker, who does a great job, big fan of Ross Tucker's, I think he does a great job. I think he should be doing more than preseason games, but does an excellent job. And he had a great comment at the end of the night. And he said, you know, when you have a backup quarterback, it's important that the other guys on the team, the other starters, have some level of belief in him. Because if your quarterback goes down and you got another quarterback that walks into that huddle, they're either going to look at him and say, uh-oh, or they're going to look at him and say, let's fucking go. And Tanner McKee completely brings a sense of confidence. And, you know, every time they've watched him, they see what we see. You think AJ doesn't see what we see? Does Saquon see what we see? Devontae Smith sees what we see? They know. They feel you feel very comfortable with him as your backup quarterback. I made a comment on our live show tonight when I was doing the game live. Thanks for everybody who tuned in, by the way. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Awesome doing that with you. Very fun to call the game. I don't know if I did well or not, but I enjoyed doing it. I made a comment tonight that if somebody offered a second rounder for Tanner McKee, I would take it. And I'm going to go ahead and call myself out and say that was a stupid and foolish comment, and you can't get rid of that guy. You can't get rid of that guy. You need to have a good backup quarterback, especially when you have a quarterback that is a dual threat that likes to run the ball. Now, Jalen's never been injured. He's never shown, outside of like a game or two, he's never shown a propensity to have an injury problem. I'm not saying for that reason. I'm saying when you have a roster this good, you don't give up a backup like that for a pick. You don't. I didn't feel too hot about Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord tonight, all right? So I take it back. It was a stupid comment. You're right, Brian Pumper. All right? So awesome performance from Tanner McKee. Absolutely awesome. I'll give another shout out to start this show. How about Kevin Patullo tonight? Look, I know it's preseason. I know this doesn't mean he's going to be a successful coordinator in the NFL. I know this doesn't mean we hired the right guy. I know all that. Does anybody even remember what Kellen did in the preseason or what Brian Johnson did or what Shane did or what Nick did? Nobody remembers. I understand that. But there's an eye test thing that I care about. And I know maybe not everybody cares about it, but I care about it. I care about what it looks like. Does he pass my smell test? Does he look like he can play the part at a high level? Kevin Patullo passed the eye test in spades. I looked over and I'm like, that guy looks like a coordinator. You know how some dudes just like look like football coaches? They look like a damn coordinator. I thought that Kevin Patullo looked awesome. I thought he called a great game. I like the way he worked the running plays in. I like the way he didn't keep Tanner McKee in the pocket only. let him kind of move around a little bit. Got him in some situations where he could roll to the right, got play action involved, took some deep shots down the football field, had a lot of things coming over the middle of the field. I thought he called a great game. I thought Kevin Patullo called a really good game. I was very impressed by him. And again, I know I've already prefaced it with the comment, or you're going to incoming to people, listen to Zander, it's a preseason game. No, sit down and shut up. Kevin Patullo did a great job tonight in the first showing that we've seen for him as our offensive coordinator. Great stuff. Great stuff from Kevin Patullo. Each of these names that I bring up today, I will talk to John McMullen about as well, so stay tuned for that. If you're looking forward to hearing J-Mac, I'm looking forward to hearing J-Mac and seeing what he has to say. So big shout out to Kevin Patullo. Great job. Thought he really did a great job. Also hit already, Tanner McKee. Great job by him. Now, earlier, if you were here when I started the show and I broke out the stat book and I kind of rattled off what the box score looked like. How are you going to cut Darius Cooper? You going to cut Darius Cooper for Ainias Smith? I thought Ainias Smith actually had a decent night tonight. We're going to cut Darius Cooper. Why? Because we spent a 6th-round draft pick on a wide receiver? I don't like that. I do not like that. I think Darius Cooper is a guy you want on your football team. Think about it. We just went through the worst-case scenario, and I just explained to you why if Jalen Hurts went down, you need to keep Tanner McKee. And obviously, nobody's going to prepare for that or expect that or assume that or want that. Obviously. What if A.J. Brown goes down? Now, I like Johnny Wilson. He did good tonight. I liked Ainias Smith. I thought he did good tonight. But do you really feel okay about one of those guys stepping into an outside wide receiver role? I don't. Darius Cooper? That's a motherfucker I can get behind. That guy plays the game tough, plays the game physical, ran good routes, used hands, created separation, was physical at the point of attack, physical at the catch point. He did everything I wanted the guy to do. We've talked about the lack of depth on the outside, which is obviously a tough thing. I mean, look, we got the best wide receiver room in football when it comes to the 1 and the 2. I don't think there's anybody better. AJ, Devontae, give me them over anybody. But after that, it is a little bit of a tough situation. And you saw it last year, but when A.J. Brown missed games, and how many of those did we lose? Devontae Smith missed games. What did our offense look like in those games? Now you're telling me we got to keep Ainias Smith? Now, again, I don't even say this in a sense of trying to throw strays at Ainias Smith. I thought he had a solid night. But I believe there's got to be a level of meritocracy here for Darius Cooper, who clearly showed that guy deserves to be on an NFL roster. Qualified. I said at the start of the show, and maybe it's an overreaction, but dude, I saw a fusion of A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel. And again, not that he's as talented as those guys. That's not my point in saying that. Skill set wise, that's what he reminded me of. That was like, I was trying, because somebody commented to me and said Deebo, and I'm like, I don't think he's as manufactured touch as Deebo. I see more outside receiver. But I did see the physical nature of the way he ran his routes, the way he came across the middle, the way he caught things at the catch point. And I was just like, AJ Brown and Deebo is a fusion that I think he is. He's a stocky dude. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but wears his size well, plays physical, plays tough, plays strong. I was really impressed with Darius Cooper tonight. He was probably my favorite player tonight. He was probably my favorite player, if you can't tell. He was probably my favorite player. I did see Elijah Cooks get carted off. We'll talk a little bit about that. And I'll get some of your guys' overall takeaways as well. I'm kind of just going to run through the things that are top of mind for me. And that's a big one. Darius Cooper being one of them is a big one. I'm now saying open up that 6th receiver spot, 5th receiver spot, whatever it is. And I think you got to keep that guy. Coming into the game tonight, I said something. I said on the pregame show, I don't know who was there, who wasn't. If you were, great. If you weren't, awesome. Listen in. Listen closely. I said on the show tonight, what do you look for in a preseason game? Like, we always joke about it, and we're all excited to see people out there in Eagle gear. But what do you actually, what can you actually take from these games? And this is what I came up with in terms of, when you get second, third, fourth stringers on the football field. I said, I'm looking for the motherfucker who makes Howie Roseman say, I got to cut this guy because I don't have space for him. He doesn't fit my roster, but I can't cut him. I don't want to cut him. That's the dude I want. That's the dude I was looking for. Who is going to make Howie Roseman's job hard, and who's going to make it easy? Who's going to make it hard? Who's going to make it easy? Darius Cooper, baby, made it harder. There's no doubt. They're going to watch that tape back and say, this kid can play. This kid can flat out play. By the way, he was on the same page as my boy Tanner McKee, no doubt. So great stuff there from Darius Cooper. Awesome performance and very impressive. You got to love it, man. Philly's not an easy place to play, and I just love when players show up, they show out, and they have good performances. I know it's just one preseason game, but it's all we got right now. For everybody's like, Jander, relax. It's a preseason game. Yeah, this is all we got, man. It's 2025. This is all we got so far. And I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. Johnny Wilson, next name on my list. Let's talk about him. I had a lot of doubts on the player. Was tired of all the drops. Watched them all last year. Felt like they were still happening a lot. Heard from Johnny Mack at the practices that they're happening a lot. Great game from Johnny Wilson. Awesome stuff. And remember, Johnny Wilson has a unique advantage over the other back-end receivers because of what he brings to you in the running game and because of what he brings to you when you're not throwing the football. So Johnny's probably making the team anyway. Like, I don't think Johnny would get cut. I don't think he should get cut. And I know it's not ideal. And there was a point where I wondered if he should get cut, but your running team, you have a great running back in Saquon Barkley. This has become a part of your identity, whether it changes or shifts off that or not. It will still remain to some extent. So Johnny's good from that perspective. But in my head, I was thinking, yeah, but he's never going to catch a ball. Like that, he's basically just there for the run stuff. Well, tonight, how about the big fella finally using his body? Use the frame you got, my man. God blessed you with a 6'6", whatever he is, 6'6", 6'7". How about that first catch? Ball lofts in, coming over. It was a little Randy Moss in him. He said, I'll take that. I'll pluck that right over the defender's head. I love seeing that from Johnny Wilson. I think that's a positive development for Johnny Wilson. I was super excited to see that, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. He had 3 big catches tonight. That wasn't the only catch. The other catch that I thought was beautiful, all 3 were beautiful, but how about the one where you're backed up a little bit inside your own red zone? Johnny lines up in the slot, okay? And he just runs a simple, slightly outside go route, right? Just hits the move hard, gets the cornerback to flip his hips, got him almost chasing. Tanner delivers an absolutely perfect ball, and instead of letting that ball come to you, I see Johnny reach out and go and get it, young man. Go and get that football. Boom, that's what he did. Reaches out and grabs it. Great stuff. I thought that was an awesome catch by Johnny Wilson, and I thought he had a good night. Good to see for him. A positive development. Remember, he's only a second-year player. So you got, I know sometimes people look like they suck, and it's like we just write them off, and, they stink. 5th-round guy, and he stinks, can't catch. Second-year guy. Good. It takes time to develop. Give him a little bit of break. All right. Give him a little bit. So that's great. That's great stuff. Underdog, my boy. Underdog. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. I hope you're doing well. Great to see you in here, my boy. How about that Tanner McKee show tonight, my guy? Great stuff from that. Crazy Chunky says, any dots in love? I'll get there. I got him in my name. I got him in my names of a list of names I want to talk about. He didn't have as big of a role tonight, but you could clearly see the separation. You could clearly see the ability that he has. He's certainly a better, more polished receiver than guys that are on practice squads and things like that. I think he's going to have a much bigger role this year. I think him and Jalen are much more on the same page. It's certain that Tanner McKee likes him. Tanner McKee went to him twice early. I love that. I love that slant. He had press cover corner on him, lining up inside the opposing red zone. All right, which is obviously an area where corners get more physical. The first team defense was still on the field. He hits him with a hard cut, loses the defender, gets out. There's two defenders there. The corner and the safety were there closing in. Dotson reaches hands out, grabs that football, cuts to the middle, does a great run after catch, and gets down to the 5-yard line. Great play. It was an awesome play. I was excited to see that for Jahan Dotson. So nothing crazy love for him, but I did think that one play was awesome. I think that one play was great. Next name I got on my list is Jahad Campbell. All right. I think a lot of this is probably more excitement. Excuse me. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I've been yapping all day. 8 to 10:30 this morning. Then we did Cilio. I was on there for an hour and change. Then I did the pregame. The pregame was supposed to end, and then it never ended. We did 4 hours. And now we're back here live again for another show. So my voice is a little scratchy, but I apologize for that. If it doesn't sound all right, it'll sound better in the next coming days. I appreciate you for being here, and your support goes a long way. Next name, Jahad Campbell. This is the one thing that stood out about Jahad Campbell to me, man. This is the one thing that stood out about him to me. I know he had a couple things. I know he took the penalty. I think maybe sometimes there he looked like he was a little out of position. But Valencia, you nailed it. He was all over the place. He was all around the ball all the time. Every time he was on the field and the ball came even near him, he was involved. He was in the mix. And those are the type of traits you want linebackers to have. You want to have a nose for the ball. You want to have the athletic ability to actually get to the ball when that ball's coming to you. Something like TJ Edwards kind of lacked. He was a great instinctive player, but sometimes he didn't have the athletic ability. If he made the wrong first step, he was fucked. Difference with Jahad Campbell, super athletic, super strong, looks like he belongs in the NFL. It looks like he already has that NFL built body. Sometimes it takes dudes like that. It takes time for dudes to get to that point. So that was my takeaway from Jahad Campbell. It wasn't all perfect. It wasn't, I don't think there was crazy splash plays or anything of that nature, but I did think that Jahad Campbell had a good showing. Had a good showing. All right. Next name I got on my list is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I thought up and down tonight. Yes, Daz, Johnny Mac is coming up soon. All right. He's in the locker room. I'll figure out when he can join me. Let me check my phone for a second before I get into Trotter Jr. And then I will take some comments from the great people as well. I just wanted to talk about the names that I had written down. So bear with me. I think you guys are, excuse me, sorry. One sec. All right. Trotter Jr., I thought he was a little streaky tonight. There was plays where I felt like, yeah, Pump, I agree. He got a little washed down in some blocks. There was plays he almost looked like he was like lethargic at times, where you're kind of looking and you're like, does he fully know like what's going on around? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know if he was fully comfortable, but I did see the instincts. I did see he was positionally sound for the most part. I don't think I didn't come away with a negative on him. I came away with a push on him. But I also did come away from a positive perspective that I don't think he doesn't belong. I think he belongs on an NFL field. Now, is he polished and ready to be that at a full-time level? Maybe not yet. But I did think he showed some things that showed, hey, I could play. I could be out here with these guys. I might still be developing. I might not be there yet, but I'm close. And I'm good enough to play in this league. And that's kind of what I took away from what Jeremiah Trotter Jr. did tonight. So good performance from him. And we'll continue to watch along that. A couple other shout outs I want to give tonight. All right. Those are the key names I wanted to talk about. I got it out. I talked about them. We'll talk a little bit more about it. I ripped Adoree and Keeley. Unfortunately, sorry, guys. I didn't want to rip you, but I had to. The other name who deserves an honorable mention tonight has got to be Patrick Johnson. How about that interception? How about that interception? That thing was a thing of beauty, man. That was a thing of beauty. That was a complete thing of beauty. So I wanted to give him a special shout out tonight. Big Trag, what's up, Big Trag? I'm going to take some comments from the great people in the chat. CB's trash. I don't know, man. Where are we, guys? Let me go to the chat. Where are we? Where are we on Ringo? Let's start with Ringo. I'll go to Adoree Jackson next. Twiz, I agree. Monday needs some work, but I thought Twiz, he had an all right showing as a rook, Twiz. I had no issue with that, but he does need some work, need some polish. Where are we on Ringo, everybody? Holy moly, it's worse than I thought. Bobby says bench. Jimmy says not good. Andrew says ass. Ringo says Ringo no go. Ringo not garbage, but def needs work. Ringo stinks. Jeez, man. Tough crowd right now. But look, this is why I got no problem with a tough crowd on this. Because, again, I said it a little bit ago. And for those who weren't here, I'll say it again. We got a rare opportunity right now in this league with a roster and a team that's built to have a chance to go and win another Super Bowl. I like Ringo too. But I'm not going to let my ego or my desires of who I want to be the corner get in the way of the mission and the main thing, as Jalen Hurts would say. You got a chance here. Don't hang it on the back of Keely Ringo if he can't do it. If he can do it, great. If he can show it, great. To this point, I haven't seen it. Now, I'm not the end-all be-all. I'm not the end-all be-all. I don't know. I'm going to default and say Vic is probably going to have a better understanding. But when you look at the full pie, when you look at what Ringo showed tonight, and then you zoom back, let's rewind 3 days. Monday night at about this time, I had just wrapped up a show, an instant reaction show, a breaking news show that the Philadelphia Eagles traded for Jakorian Bennett, a cornerback who was selected in the 4th round of the 2023 NFL Draft, one spot ahead of Ringo. And now I take that. I take what I've seen from Ringo. I take what I heard about Vic, what I heard from Vic talking about Adoree Jackson, and I'm saying this dude was traded here to be the starter. Jakorian Bennett might be here to be the starter. He hasn't shown much. He's got injury problems with the shoulders that are concerning. I think he might be here to be the starter. He panned out pretty. He was a good player last year pre-injury. I don't know. I'm between the rock and the hard place of I'm not ready to write off Ringo's career. I'm not ready to say he'll never be a good corner. The guy's like 23 years old or 24, whatever he is. Imagine when you were 24, if someone said, hey, you've reached your ceiling, you'd say, fuck you. If somebody told me you reached your ceiling, I'd say, fuck you. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Ringo's reached his ceiling or he's not going to get better or he can't be a good player at some point. The hard place, though, if that's the rock, the hard place is I want to win a damn Super Bowl this year. And if I don't feel like he's the best guy, why would we go for him? You know? What's the point? Like, why? So we think we're right? To placate to feelings? Like, what's the point? We have such a rare opportunity with this team, with the way it's built, with the quarterback, with the coach, with the GM, with everything that it has right now. Like, I'm not willing to let the defense blow it at the wrong time because we wanted Ringo to win the job. So that's the rock and the hard place I'm in with him. Now, I can tell you guys are a little bit of a tough crowd on him right now. I don't have a problem with that because we should all desire greatness and push for greatness, and those things are all necessary. I don't think he's going to blow. Ringo is not crap in college. Like, Jamar, I'll just answer you. I got no problem with you saying he sucks right now for the Eagles. He was not crap in college. He was a good college player. He was, quite frankly, he was like real good in college. Like, he was like a good Georgia player. Came out early. That's why he slipped in the draft. But Coach Corey B. Hiking's in here. What's up, brother? Ringo is ass. Give Ringo time. Well, Big D, that's what I just said. I'm trying to give him time. But Big D, how much time you looking to give him, bro? We got a Super Bowl window. You know? How much time do we want to give him is my problem and my question. Take up more comments about Keely Ringo. Ringo can't play dead in a horror movie. Holy shit, Lamar. Oh, my goodness, Lamar. Good night. Dank Bird Gang. What's up, Dank? Good to see you in here. Ringo's biggest issue is he's not good at playing the ball downfield. That's so true. Dank, he's right there. He's right there. You know, he's right there. He doesn't read the, you know, Dank, he doesn't have a good sense of the field. Like in terms of awareness. Like when Jamar Chase made that catch, fine, make the catch. The fact that he turned around like this and Keely Ringo was you know, gracing the moon, that's our problem. That's like my issue. Like you got to stay sound there. You know, you got to have more a fundamental awareness and a technicality or to your game where you don't just let Jamar Chase take one turn on the jets, and you're eating his dirt and he's kicking up off the ground from Lincoln Financial. That's what he was doing. It was like a horse race. I said that on the show earlier. It's like the Kentucky Derby. Guys like the horse in last place getting hit with the dirt. Fucking dirt kicking up off Jamar Chase's shoes, man. Fucking hitting Ringo in the face. You know, I don't know. I'm trying not to. I don't want to be too hard on the kid, but you know, this is look. It's a dog eat dog world. This is a dog eat dog league. This is the NFL. This is the National Football League. This is the finest, the greatest football players on the planet. Not everybody is built to make it. I'm wondering, man. I'm wondering about Ringo. So that's probably easily my biggest concern about the team at large, I would say right now. Now let's flip our gear. Same position, different player. Adoree Jackson, while the splash play wasn't as bad tonight, like example, Keely obviously got beat on the big touchdown, so everybody remembers that. It's the splash play. Adoree Jackson looked like a fish out of water. Adoree Jackson looked like a fish out of water. He looked like he was undersized, not physical enough, didn't know where to be. I mean, this guy's supposed to be the vet. Like I see Duel says for a veteran. I'm like, this guy was supposed to be the guy with some experience. This is the guy who signed a big contract in New York a couple years ago. This is a guy who, like, it's one thing for Ringo to get burnt. You're like, yeah, he's never played at the NFL level a lot. Adoree Jackson looked like he was not a guy I would want starting. Not even close. Like not even a little bit. Like I'd probably put Adoree still below Ringo. Ringo was at least there. Ringo was at least there. You know, like he got beat, but he was there. Can he clean up some of that work? Can he clean up some of that polish for the end? Possibly. Adoree, I didn't think looked the part even a little bit. I was pretty upset about that because I was hoping, like in my head, I was thinking, all right, if Ringo can't get the job done, this is like a couple weeks ago. If Ringo can't get the job done. By the way, shout out to Prodigal Catholic. Gotta love it. Catholic brothers unite. Love it. Great stuff. If Ringo doesn't pan out, you got at least a veteran player that you could feel okay about. Might not be great, but at least can play the game from play to play. Probably will get beat here and there. It's football. Welcome to football. Everybody's going to get beat no matter who wins the job. Somebody's going to get beat at some point. I'm thinking, all right, Jackson's at least a decent safety net. I don't even think he's a safety net. I'm wondering who else is on the roster? Jacorian and who? Who's after Jacorian Bennett? I guess Eli Ricks. Like I'm putting Eli Ricks above Adoree Jackson. So I don't know. I didn't think he looked good. I didn't think Adoree Jackson looked good. I know I just went on a lot of negative, but those are the two concerns. I mean, you come out of a game like this, what do you look for? Well, I came in coming in and saying, oh wait, there's another player we got to talk about. I haven't even talked about him yet. We'll get to him in a second. You come in and you have certain things you're looking for. Today, I said I want to watch safety and I want to watch corner. I want to watch Kelee Ringo. See if this guy can play this year. I came away more concerned about both. Now let's go to safety. Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown looks a little bit more sound. Looks like he's trying to play inside that Vic system a little bit more. Did he get hurt bad tonight? Anybody else pick up on that on the broadcast? He hit, collided with the guy, hard hit, good hit. Running back bounced right off him. He went down like this almost. And then he gets up and he immediately goes like this and runs off the field. Now, I don't know. Maybe pop the shoulder right, pop it back in, call it a day, whatever, you're good. Maybe. Collarbone is an issue. Some sort of shoulder issue. Something happened there. So even if he's healthy right now, my question is he a guy we can rely on, and again, injuries are something you can't legislate. You can't make personnel decisions entirely based on injuries. So I'm not trying to do that at all. But I am wondering how much this guy can hold up. It's kind of the Gaz, is that what it was? Did they say what it was? Because that could be a valid explanation. I thought he got a stinger. Maybe. That's true, Robert. He definitely needs to wrap up. Poor tackler, but a hard hitter. Hard hitter, poor tackler. Bad hit, ducked his head. Correct. Bad fundamentals. No wrap, and kind of just like, boom, boom. And then he clocked his shoulder. Actually, and to your point, Samuel, if he doesn't duck his head there and he wraps up, does he ever hit his shoulder like that? Probably not, right? Probably not. Probably not. Bubba says Brown is nothing but a crash out. I don't view him like that, but I do wonder if same thing with Ringo. Like, do we want to put our eggs in this basket when we got a chance to go and win another Super Bowl with the damn near best roster in football? And we're hanging this secondary on Sidney Brown and Kelee Ringo. Both of these guys who one can't stay on the field and one guy's burnt toast every time he goes up against a half-decent receiver. Somebody was like, oh, it was Jamar Chase that beat him. And I'm like, okay, and what do you think it means to be a starting cornerback in football? It means you got to play guys like that. And if you're going to get beat here and there, I'm good with that. Every corner is going to get beat by great receivers. It'd be nice if you weren't like a legitimate piece of bread that's been left in a toaster for 4 hours. Thing like crumbles in your fingers. That was burnt toast. Exactly, Keese. Look at our schedule, man. Like, you can't just say, hey, you had a good receiver, give him some break, give him a break. Dude, you got good receivers every week. Every week. You're playing CeeDee Lamb in week 1. The Chiefs don't have barely shit. They got Xavier Worthy. You're playing Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams in week 3. You're playing Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Emeka Ibuka in week 4. Man, there's a lot of good receivers in this league. Think about that Buck game. All right, if Quinyon blankets Mike Evans, and we don't have to have him pick on Ringo, great. Actually, I think Ringo would be a better matchup with Evans because of the size and maybe give Ringo a better chance. Although he is fast. But you're still going to get either Godwin or Ibuka. Like there's good receivers on the field. If you're going to be a starting cornerback on the field, you're going to play against good receivers. Like picture this. You feel confident in Kelee playing what Quinyon's role was last year? Yes or no in the chat? Do you feel confident with anybody we have right now playing the role that Quinyon played last year, which was the second cornerback on the team? Yes or no? Does anybody feel confident with those guys playing the role that Quinyon played last year? Because that's what it is. A whole lot of no's in the chat. Oh, Matthew. No way, man. No way. So I'm not saying now, GP, what we're not is we're not screwed. We got some holes that we got to figure out. Howie's probably at the drawing board right now. We're not screwed. We got a lot of great players on this team. We got a lot of great players on this defense. You got a lot of players that are ahead of schedule on that defense. We're not screwed. This isn't doom and gloom. This is specifically cornerback 2 right now on August 7th. I hate to do this, but this is true. Kenzo says, Ringo is not a practice or a game player. Other than that, he's great. It's like, Kenzo, you're right, dude. Like, I feel like that's what I've been sold on the kid. Oh, he's just not a practice player. It's like, then he gets in the game, he gets burnt. Oh, so he's not a game player. What, he's just 6'2" and, like, looks good? Like, looks like he could be a corner? I mean, I could fucking walk in a Wawa right now and find a dude that looks like he could be a corner. What does that mean? Looks like he could play the part. I want to see it. I want to see it. Howie knows the center. That's why he got another cornerback. You're right. Look, we could be feeling a lot better about this after next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday, which is the second preseason game versus the Browns. We could be feeling a lot better. We could be feeling a lot better from a sense of, hey, maybe Jacorian Bennett gets on the field. Maybe he looks a little bit more sound and grounded in coverage. Maybe he makes better plays on the football. Maybe he shows that he can be a guy. We don't need him to be a damn superstar. I think we need him to show a little bit more than Ringo has. JD, I'll get to all super chats. Thanks, everybody, man. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. Hit that like button. All right. Drop a comment up on this video. I love talking to you guys in the chat. Appreciate each and every one of you, even those who hate me. I love you, and I appreciate you very much for being here. I will get to all super chats in about 3 minutes. All right, JD? Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Leon says, Xander, don't roast me. Justin Simmons. I was out on him early because I'm like, why are we trying to get 32-year-old dude that's like way past his prime, who hasn't really played that great of football in the last couple of years he's played? I was kind of in that boat, but I'm wondering at this point if you want to go to if you just feel better about that. Like, remember, I talked about the 1-year window. Like, I'm not worried about the future. I'm not talking about whether Makuba will be good in 26 or 27 or 28. I'm talking about right now. And, like, I do feel like Justin would help us. I didn't really feel like that a couple weeks ago. I still am not that excited about it, Leon, now that I'm thinking about it. But I don't know, Sidney Brown or Simmons. Like, there's a couple guys saying nobody wants this old safety, and I'm with you guys. I don't really want him either. And I agree with Sig Lord. I think he's a Kevin Byard 2.0. But would you rather him for a Super Bowl contending team than Sidney and Makuba? I don't know. I probably would. Fly says, I'm not impressed with Ty Robinson. Yeah, Ty, I thought he had a decent night tonight, man. I thought he showed some things. I thought he showed burst up the middle. I thought he, was kind of shedding blocks well. He had that big sack, obviously. A couple times I thought he was out of position, almost looked like he forgot what to do. It was a kind of odd, but I didn't think he had a bad night. I thought he played better than I've heard he's been practicing. Yeah, Max and Hook, Daz, you're talking about? Max and Hook? Max and Hook at safety? Maybe, man. Yeah, well, DS, I noticed that too. Ty stands straight up. I need Clint Hurt to get up there, take his big-ass body and sit on Ty's back and say, get low. Get low. If you want to win in this league at the point of attack, at the line of scrimmage, you better get leverage and get low. I noticed that same thing, DS. I'm happy you put that comment in there. But yeah, he was a 4th rounder, I think. Xander, you think Howie makes a trade before September? I do, Fredo. I don't think he's done just yet, man. I think he knows the moment. I think he knows where we are from the Super Bowl window. I think he knows the rare opportunity that we have in front of us. I think he knows the the rarefied air that we're in terms of kind of the permeating mentality of Jalen Hurts across the roster. I know not everyone, like, say what you want about Jalen Hurts, but he completely changed the mentality of most players and coaches. I mean, everybody has taken on this mindset and this persona and this approach that Jalen Hurts has. Everybody. Mailata shows up talking like it. Nick Sirianni's altered to sound like it. Everybody shows up sound like Jalen Hurts. I'm like, yo, it's one thing to say t-shirt slogans and not actually live it. If you live it, I respect it. And he is who he says he is. Cheapskate says, Zander, how about Tanner and that offense putting down the throats of the Bengals starting defense? And that was our backups. Impressive, man. And really good performance by Tanner McKee. Really good performance by Tanner McKee. I was very impressed by Tanner McKee tonight. Great job by him. And Annette, hopefully I pronounced that right. Annette, is that right? Annette? Makuba, I felt like was a risky pick, but I do hope he turns out good. Definitely a risky pick. Guy looks like he's, looks like I could square up with him, Annette. Like 5'9", 180, soaking wet. That look like a physical safety to you. It doesn't look like one to me. It doesn't mean he can't play. It doesn't mean he might not be great. Not trying to put a ceiling on the young man. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't put ceilings on anybody, because if you told me you put a ceiling on me, I'd tell you to fucking kick a bag of rocks. So I'm not going to put a ceiling on him. I'm just saying my thoughts on that pick. I always kind of question that size because he's talked about as a physical safety. All right, let me get to some super chats. Appreciate it, by the way, everybody being here. We got a great crowd in here. Love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. You got it, Big Zeke. Perfect in that. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. JD says, defense is but looks like we could have number 1 O. Well, you didn't see any of the starting O tonight, but yeah, I mean, look, I thought the defense showed a couple things tonight that were positive. I thought there were a couple flashes from players that I liked. Nothing crazy. I thought Gabe Hall was meh. I thought Keeley was I thought Adoree was I thought Jihad was good. I thought Trotter was solid. I thought Sidney was decent until the injury. And I thought, who else stuck out to me? Didn't see much from Uche or Ojulari. They didn't really make me feel any certain sort of way. That's kind of it. So, yeah, I guess defense is meh. Offense looked great. That's a completely different offense than what we're going to run, though. I mean, that's Tanner McKee. You run in a completely different offense with Tanner McKee in the game than you will with Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, that we'll have to see. Jalen's the biggest superstar we had since AI. It's a good take. Brady, what's up? Or Brody Brandel, what's up, dude? Appreciate you being here. He says, let's be honest with ourselves. I always am. At least I always try to be, Brody, in everything in life. Sometimes my girl doesn't like that. I'm brutally honest. Ringo and Ricks have been here for a minute. Neither have sniffed a starting spot. Walk like a duck, talk like a duck, shit like a duck. That motherfucker is a duck. Brody, good take. Brody, you're actually correct. Rex, I don't think has been given as much opportunity, but we'll see. General JD again. JD, thanks for the super chats tonight, my man. I appreciate it very much. He says, Z, the defense isn't going to be good enough with the safety and cornerback too. Pass rush isn't good enough to make up. We need lockdown corners this year. It's so true. Last year you had this good pass rush, so it helped the corners. You had lockdown corners who aided in the pass rush. Now you've gotten slightly lesser at both, which, while in theory you're like, okay, we got slightly worse. It won't be that bad, but that's a compounding effect. If your edges can't get home, your corners are going to need to be better. If your corners aren't going to be aren't better and they're getting exposed, everything is going to fall apart quick. It's like Jenga. You can't just pull out one and it all shakes out. It's like it could not collapse, but it could get uglier, a lot uglier, a lot quicker. Just got the text from Johnny Mack. Let me see what he's saying. Coming up. Nice. We're getting John McMullen here in a couple minutes. Johnny Mack in a couple minutes. Fabio, look at that. Fabio Villicana. Nice. Where did that wide receiver Coop come from? I have no clue, dude. Darius Cooper? Let me look that up. Kid's a stud. Tarleton State. I think he was an undrafted free agent this year. Dude, this kid's a stud. I fucking want to keep him on this football team. In fact, I'm going to be pissed off and make videos, and you guys are going to be mad at my videos on the channel, and you're going to comment hate mail to me, and I don't give a shit if they cut that kid. That kid deserves to be on this football team. Sig Lord says Adoree will be this year's Devin White. Yeah, he's done. It's going to happen quicker this year. Pumper says if Ringo keeps getting starts, that means Vic believes in him. And once he wins this job, these dudes can stick my boots sideways in their poop chutes. All right. Caleb says Tanner is nice. We need corners. Start Ricks. I mean, I like Ricks, but I don't know how that makes me feel. HKP says, love AJ, but we need depth. His hamstring is an issue. Exactly. Which is why you keep Darius Cooper. Right? I'm keeping Darius Cooper. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. HKP becomes a member as well. Thank you, all the great members who we have here. For those who are new, memberships, we give away Eagles jerseys all year long. Last year, I gave away around 70 jerseys. I'm looking to give away more this year, probably almost 100 jerseys would be my goal this year if everything plans out, if everything works out as expected. So as long as the members keep coming in, we'll be doing tons of giveaways. So get your memberships in if you want to do that. Dang says he's rocking his JAKIB Stout U hoodie tonight. Love that, bro. I love the Stout U hoodie. Big fan of the Stout U hoodie. Appreciate everybody being here. I'm looking forward to hearing what Johnny Mac's got to say about this because, I know John's going to throw a little bit of water on me because I'm all jacked up. I'm all excited. And I've been fucking covering this team all summer. I've been doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of Eagles content all summer. And I got no problem with it. I love doing it. But the minute we get some football, I'm jacked up. I can't help it. John's going to throw some water on my parade. I know he is. All right. Look at this. Look at this bum. This bum. Jeez, Krause, put on your Kango and pump your brakes, cuz you know better. First practice game. Stop panicking. Yo, dude, take your comment over to PHLY. I don't need you here. All right. Here we go. Pressers are over. Keys calls it. He says, J-Mac's on the way. He nailed it. J-Mac joining the green room right now. I'm going to let the connection stabilize, and then we'll go right to Johnny Mac, get his takeaways on this game. Real quick, one more super chat. Valencia says, what does it say that we didn't see Jalix? I would say that means they have Jalix as a entrenched starter for the year. That would be my takeaway. But we will see. All right, let's go to Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining me right now here on a JAKIB postgame show, our first of the year. Last time we had one of these, we were talking about a Super Bowl win, everybody. So enjoy this first one, even if it's a preseason game. Let's bring him up right now. Johnny Mac joins me here on JAKIB postgame show. J-Mac, how you doing, brother? First game in the book, 34-27 to win. John, that felt like an action-packed preseason game to me, my friend.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting for a preseason game, especially early, because you had a shootout developing with Joe Burrow and Tanner McKee. So, especially early, it got a little sloppy late, but that's understandable. That tends to happen in preseason games. But yeah, I mean, Tanner McKee was phenomenal. Got to give him credit. A lot of positives, especially offensively. Defensively, obviously the cornerbacks didn't look great, but that's a great quarterback on the other side, maybe the best receiver in football. So you have to put that context on it, and just talk to Keely. He knows what went wrong. He sort of over pursued, and Chase is the last guy you want to over pursue on, and he's able to pivot.
Was he in good spirits, John? Did it seem like he was like down about it or what?
No. He's very accountable, very James Bradbury like in that, even James, when he got the penalty in the Super Bowl, was accountable. Kaylee's like the same way. So, but Kaylee and Adoree Jackson did not play well. So that's probably the biggest red flag in the game, I would say. But you found out a lot of things. I think a lot of people said, I've been saying for a while, Johnny Wilson's going to make this team, and Anais Smith is going to make this team. And they are, and you kind of saw why tonight a little bit. And then Darius Cooper. That's
dude,
a guy
God, he's got to make the team. I've been talking about him all hour, dude. I've been talking about this guy all hour.
That's the kind of game where again, we talked about Eli Ricks a couple of years ago, and Eli almost had a pick Ricks today. He should have
Yeah,
had
he
it.
did. Should have had it for sure.
But that's the kind of game that other people will notice with Darius Cooper, and it might open the book in how he's saying, well, maybe I got to keep 6 receivers on this roster and sort of manipulate some other positions like tight ends, for instance, and try to do that a little bit of a different way. So if he keeps playing like that, he's going to be tough to cut. But all this team does is win games. So, book those tickets to San Francisco, I guess.
Yep, good stuff. Johnny Mac, great initial takeaways. I want to dive into a couple of the names that you talked about. I have some things on my mind. You basically mentioned all the things that I want to talk to you about. We'll now dive a little bit deeper into them. Let's talk Kelee Ringo, John. First one that everybody's sounding the alarms on. Now, I'm not going to sound the alarm on him, John, because he's a young player. He doesn't have a lot of experience. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's never going to be good. But I am thinking about 2025, John. Forget the few. Can he be a guy this year? And you point out, hey, it's a great receiver and a great quarterback over there. And I'm looking at the first 4 games of the year, and I'm like, well, you're going to play a lot of great quarterbacks and a lot of great receivers this year. Like, this
Not
is
like that.
Yeah, but you're going to play,
Yeah, but not like that. Not like that. I mean, I do think you have to that's the best quarterback wide receiver combination in football.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, you're going to get beat. Adoree Jackson got beat by Jamar Chase. He got 4 passes. Yeah, he got 4 passes on 4 targets for 77 yards. And, it happened to be the big one against Kelee. And Adoree got beat by Charlie, I got to look up his name, the backup receiver, for 23 yards. So it was not from that standpoint, it was the most positive for Bennett, who didn't play, because at least you have that uncertainty, and people say, well, maybe he can come in. But I really think you can't overreact to, and I know people are tired of hearing about it, but God damn, that's Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. It's
I know. I hear you. I just am wondering,
now,
dude, you're going to be starting sooner,
He can't overrun that play. That should have been like a 20-yard game, which is, it's the next
not
play.
Great, but it's better than what happened.
Yeah. So, and he knew it. As soon as I asked him the question, he knew it, and he over-leveraged himself. And, you got to maybe the best playmaker in football pivoting, and, it's over at that point. But I do, you're not going to see that a lot. You're going to see good quarterbacks and good receivers, but you're not going to see that specifically. So I don't want to overstate it, but it wasn't a good performance by the corners. That's also fair to say. All the corners. I thought, by the way, if Eli picks that off, he's in the conversation. The narrative changes because 100%. Of how poorly Ringo and Jackson played.
Yeah, I thought Bennett was worse. Like, I know the splash play didn't happen against him, so people are, like you said, are talking about Ringo more. But I thought Adoree looked like a fish out of water.
Yeah, he was not good.
Like you said all the time at camp, though. Kelee was there. He just didn't make the play, but he was there. Adoree, to me, he didn't look like he knew where to be. He didn't look comfortable. He didn't look physical. He just didn't look the part to me.
Yeah, the one pass and what chased him is like a 5-yard cushion. He was, and maybe that's the better way to play it as a veteran, but you're giving up significant yardage. But yeah, so I mean, that's the one negative, and who knows if it's a full game, you got to make adjustments. And if they're out there for 60 minutes, it probably would be tough, but they're not in a position to handle receiver, and they got like that, and they got to pick it up pretty quickly. Whether it's Bennett or coming in, or whether it's Ricks getting an opportunity, but Ringo and Jackson are just not seizing the opportunity right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to read the tea leaves. And again, we're going to move on in a second. I don't want to be so doom and gloom because you are right, John. I mean, there's an element of got to let it play out, but I'm kind of reading the tea leaves. Monday night, they make a big trade for a corner. Not a big trade. They send Thomas Booker, who's been a good piece here, bring in Jacorian Bennett. At first, I'm like, depth piece, who knows? Let's see what he does. I listened to Vic talk about the corners. Yeah, that's close. It's a close battle. Didn't really give glowing praise a week ago to either of the two corners. I don't know. Like, maybe they really want Jacorian Bennett to be the starter because they're seeing what we see, and that these guys aren't going to be good enough to be the cornerback too. Like I posed this question to the chat, John, before you came up. I don't need them to be a superstar, but are you comfortable with either of those two guys playing Quinyon Mitchell's role last year? Quinyon was the second cornerback on the team last year in this zone system.
Yeah.
Are you
Well, I've
comfortable
said,
with
I've been saying for a long time it's going to be tough to replace Slay. I've been saying
You
that
have
for a long time.
really like really long.
Because that is a really good, really smart, really savvy corner, 6-time Pro Bowl cornerback. Yes, he's getting older, but he played at a high level last year. And forget about Slay. I mean, Isaiah Rodgers as well played at a high level when he got his opportunity.
Yep.
So you lost both of those guys. And, Quinyon looks ready to, obviously he's a deference player, as I call him, so he's not playing today, but he's a guy who looks ready to take that next step and get even better. But that complementary, the 2 and the 3 spot at corner looks like it's much, there's a pretty big downgrade from where it was last year. That's why I'm a little bit more concerned with the defense than most people are because, they lost a lot of good players, and some guys might step up. Moro Jomo being the most, probable, and from that standpoint. But I think if you go player for player of the players you lost, it's very unlikely that you're going to have any of those positions perform like they performed last year because everybody had a big season. Everybody had an up season, not a down season. From Milton to Sweat to Slay to Isaiah, even Oren Burks, who was out there tonight, CJ, who luckily there was conflicting reports he might have torn his ACL. Now it looks like it might be less serious. So hopefully for CJ, he'll be able to get back. But, they lost a lot of good players.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Who played well last year. And that's going to be tough to replace.
No doubt about it. Let's keep rolling on, Johnny Mac. Let's go to the other side of the ball for a second. We got to get a little positive now, Johnny Mac. How about Tanner McKee? And I'm not just going to go to the stat. I love the way he plays the position. He's so in control. He has such a good awareness in the pocket of when pressure's coming, when to roll out, when to move, when to throw the ball away. That one throw early in the game, John, he stepped around Pryor, who was at the right tackle. I forget who the receiver was. It might have been Darius Cooper on the right sideline. He almost sidearmed. That ball was on a rope, and I just like the way he plays the position. I thought Tanner McKee was awesome tonight. What'd you see from tonight's quarterback one?
Yeah, I mean, he was great. There's no two ways about it. I'm surprised how long he played into the third quarter. So, because I had asked Nick that on Tuesday, and he was sort of like hemming and hawing, saying, well, practice reps are meaningful. And I'm saying, is this guy going to get, a series or two like Jalen Hurts would get? And then they go to Dorian Thompson. But they played him into the third quarter, and, he was hot. And
is there any thinking around that could be like maybe they're trying to boost the trade capital even more, or no? I don't think they would trade him.
They are not trading.
I want to make sure that you weren't thinking that.
I know I'm going to get that question. They are not trading Tanner McKee.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Did you see who played after Tanner McKee? They're not ready. They're not ready to play.
No.
In the history of Jalen Hurts, he started for 4 years. 1 year he played all 17 games. So he, haven't been major like 2 games every year.
Right.
But if history repeats itself, you're going to need somebody to play for 1 or 2 games, and those guys aren't ready. So, down the road, if they develop Kyle McCord, who did not look good tonight, and a little disappointed from my standpoint because I
Me
wanted to
too.
see him play.
Me too. Because I want
But again, he's in there with the late moments of the game, the sloppiness, the players that next week they'll probably flip it and he'll get in for Thompson Robinson's. He'll go in first, is how they usually do it, and that'll be a bigger test. And I don't think Tanner will play as much as he did in this game, especially with the 2 practices with Cleveland coming up. So I don't think he'll play as much, but yeah, he was great. And Cooper, that's the first game he played. So I mean, he's been doing that in practice like every day now. He's been making plays and getting separation to the point where you're like, hey, guys, scouts, don't scout the helmet. That's what they always tell me. Don't scout the helmet. Well, they scouted the helmet because he went to Tarleton State.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to Alabama. But guess what? He was second in Division One in receiving yards. He was an All-American. Dude can play.
There's no way I would get rid of that player. Like you just said about Jalen Hurts. And again, it's a little bit of a different scenario with a receiver. A.J. Brown missed 4 games last year. Devontae Smith missed 3 games last year. You're really not going to keep – now that guy is a guy I'd feel better about at outside receiver. Johnny, he's not.
I don't want to overstate. He's not AJ or Devontae, but
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying though, we talked about a viable depth piece that can play the outside.
Here's the most impressive thing about Tanner McKee tonight for me. Have you ever seen? And that's why I put Cooper to the side because that's his first game. But have you ever seen Johnny Wilson or Ainias Smith be more effective than they were tonight?
No.
No, that was a quarterback elevating. We always talk about quarterback, Aaron Rodgers in his prime is the guy I always point to. Elevated everybody. Everybody. It's a preseason game. A lot of it's against backup players, but in that environment, Tanner McKee elevated everybody. And there were throws. I mean, there were a couple throws he missed, and it could have been even better. Not many, but I've never seen Johnny Wilson play like that.
No,
never. I've never seen Ainias Smith play like that as a receiver. He had a good punt return too. I mean, he only had 2 catches, but he had the touchdown. But you could see him involved, and he's more confident in himself. So that to me is, he's making other people better. That's a positive sign with the quarterback. But they're not going to trade him, guys.
No, and we shouldn't. Nobody should even want that. I mean, what the heck? What? I wondered it earlier. That was the thing I wondered with the third quarter thing. I'm like, all right. I mean, now what's the point? Like, are they trying to boost it? But I agree. I quickly came off that. John, keep rolling down. The next name I have on my list I wanted to talk to you about, and you kind of mentioned him a little bit there, but Johnny Wilson, dude, how about some of those catches that he had tonight, man? Finally using that big frame that he's got, John. I've been wanting to do that. Finally using those hands, reaching out, going and getting the football, using the size. And obviously, Tanner McKee delivered him some perfect footballs. But I thought Johnny Wilson had some really, really special catches tonight. That was good.
Yeah, that's the thing about Johnny. He's got to use that size, and he really hasn't. Everybody says it. Tanner said it after the game. He's like, he uses his size so well. Well, he did today, but he hasn't typically.
Right. But you see what he can do if he does use that size. It's a mismatch on everybody.
Yeah, and you can just throw those 50-50 balls and feel comfortable letting them go up. But, I think you saw why he's going to make this team. Like I said, you saw why Ainias is going to make this team. And now Darius Cooper's kind of making a case to keep him around because you don't want to lose him on waivers. So still a long way to go, Darius Cooper's going to get plenty more playing time, and unfortunately, it might be with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord, so the numbers probably aren't going to look as good. But the coaches know, and if he continues to play in practice the way he's been playing in practice, that dude just gets separation all the time.
He did all night tonight. I mean, every play they needed him, he was open. He got open.
Yeah.
And there were tight windows, It was physical routes. I love the way, I don't know. You might call me crazy at this, but I'm not talking about talent standpoint. I'm talking about style of play. I saw like a fusion of the way Debo plays and the way AJ plays. Not talent. I'm talking about the way they played the position. That's kind of the way I saw him, just in a small sample size, the way he played tonight. You think I'm way off with that or what?
Well, yeah, I think AJ's a Hall of Famer. And
I know.
I think Debo's a very unique player. Like, I don't compare. I don't like Darius is a receiver. Like, I think he's a better receiver.
Well, that's why I added in AJ Brown.
But
he's like Debo, but he plays like AJ.
But he runs routes, and he's not really a manufactured. Like, Debo's a manufactured touch player. Debo's phenomenal when you get the ball. He's not. That's not what Cooper is. Darius Cooper. So I don't necessarily see that. Now he's stocky, if that's what you mean.
I meant Debo's size plays the position like AJ, though. That's kind of where it came from, because he's definitely not a manufacturer.
He's short, so he's got some limitations from that standpoint. He's only 5'11", and I don't know what Debo is, but he's bigger than that. But yeah, so Debo's a very unique player. I'll say that. I'm not a big fan because you need Kyle Shanahan to take advantage of it. But
yeah, we'll see if Commanders can do it. John, let's keep rolling. I want to talk to you about Kevin Petula, who I thought called a great game tonight. I really did. I thought he called. And the other part about it was, John, this is kind of a an empty comment, but I'm still going to make it. There's like a little bit of an eye test to a coach. Some coaches just like look like a damn coordinator. They just like look like they're meant to be holding a play sheet, calling plays. He looked the part, and the results were great as well. I thought he called an awesome game, his first game, holding the play sheet.
Yeah, I if people listen to my pregame, I love Kevin Petula, so I'm above board. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a great communicator. I think he's going to be a good offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm not wavering off what I said pregame. There's no play. You're not going to get a feel for play calling in this game because they didn't game plan at all for 1 second. This is just about running plays you had on the sheet and going through it. So, if you go back to everybody considers Shane Steichen the best offensive coordinator pretty much of the Nick Sirianni era. He had a great feel for in-game. You're not going to get that part of it until the regular season. You're just not. And there's going to be some uncertainty. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but I'm not going to come off what I said pregame. It's just not. It's not an environment where you can gauge play calling because they're not saying, "Oh, Cincinnati's playing cover 3 and we're gonna throw out our cover," because they're vanilla, you're vanilla. Yeah. Nobody's trying to show anything. Jack Taylor's. I was joking about that. Jack Taylor's playing this like he's punting the ball. He's down. It's like it's preseason. Just go for it. So that's some of the things I'll criticize a coach for. But you can't really get much in this game. I talked to Nick after the game. If people were listening to the press conference, he gave a pretty good answer. To me, the coaching staff was about the operation. Was it a clean game? It was a very clean game. You didn't notice a lot of out of the huddle late, hurrying to get the play. So from that standpoint, it was all positive.
Yeah, good stuff. Yep, agreed.
But play calling, there's just nothing you can gain from preseason game to judge play calling. And by the way, you know me in general. People don't judge play calls; they judge play results.
Right.
There were a lot of successful play results, so from that standpoint, he had a great play calling.
John's never taken that bait, no matter what the situation is. I love it. All right, John, a couple other names, and then we'll get you out of here. Jahad Campbell, what'd you think?
Yeah, he had a chance to get an interception, which would have been nice. He didn't. He kind of fumbled it at the end, but and that was a technique. Nick talked about that technique thing, but Small London started. I don't know if people noticed that.
Yep, I noticed it.
Smile is, I think, ahead of him right now. So I don't think it's positive. I think, he's got plenty of time to catch up. Ultimately, we all know they want to go in Jahad Campbell's direction, but Trotter played a good game. He had a chance for an interception and didn't get it. It's looking more and more to me. Week 1 starters, Zach Bond. Saw Zach. Zach's fine, by the way. Saw N'Kobe as well. But week 1 starters are going to be Zach Bond and Trot at linebacker.
What did you think of Trotter tonight?
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was
solid.
good.
Yep.
I mean, the whole defense was mismatched. I mean, the first 2 series they were.
I know. I mean,
it's first team offense. Cincinnati.
How fucking good is Joe Burrow, dude?
Oh man, I've been telling people and they don't listen.
Oh my gosh, that guy.
But he was 9-8, Zander. So how could he be the best quarterback? He almost won the damn MVP, not making the playoffs.
That dude can play football.
And he's already,
I don't give a shit what.
And he's already taken that team to the Super Bowl with one of the worst offensive lines in football. He's special, man. He's the best quarterback in football right now, today. And I've been saying that for a while. In my mind, he's surpassed Lamar and Josh Allen. He's the best quarterback in football.
Big statement there from J Mac. John, any other names, man, stuck out to you tonight before we let you run? A couple other things probably, but anything to you? Any other names? Any other guys on defense or offense? I did think it was interesting, John, that the offense had something. I'm going to mute you out real quick. Something's going on behind you, but no problem. I did think it was interesting how well the offense did, and I don't know if it was the full first team offense for Cincinnati. But those first couple of drives, like Tanner was moving the ball right down the field. And I'm like, is this Cincinnati's first team defense? Because they were kind of, and I thought that was pretty impressive the way they managed that part.
Yeah, it was mainly, and they're taking out the trash. They're trying to get us out of here as quickly as possible. Yeah, it was a lot of their first team defense. So I had to look exactly, but it was a lot of it. So yeah, they were impressive. And that was the thing. I think, the Cincinnati offense only had it twice with Burrow and they scored 2 touchdowns and you say, all right, this could get ugly. But, Tanner kept him right in the game with the first touchdown. By the way, our guy Will Shipley with a 38-yard run.
Yeah, John. Will looked great.
But he didn't, somebody will be out there tomorrow. Well, you didn't get it in the end zone. He's not Saquon. Yeah, nobody's Saquon. But, I don't know how many 38-yard runs Kenny Gainwell had over the past 4 years. But, and then Kenny's a player I like a lot. But, Will's got a chance to be better. And he's a great receiver as well. Again, the one thing I'm concerned about is pass protection. We'll see how that looks. And A.J. Dillon, he looked good. So, I think the Eagles have a nice backup running back situation. Now, while I say that, you don't want them to play that much because obviously you want Saquon on the field. But I think they're in good shape at backup running back.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, great takeaways, great stuff tonight, brother. Get home safely. We'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen. Give him a follow at JF McMullen on X. Best Eagles reporter in the world. There's no doubt about it. I don't listen to anybody else that reports on the team over John McMullen. All right. And that's not because he works with JAKIB. That was before he worked with JAKIB. That's how he ended up at JAKIB. Okay. So Johnny Mack is the GOAT. Great conversation there. You know, I thought he brought some good thoughts to the conversation, especially about Ringo and the cornerbacks. And I think those are all, you know, perfectly fine. I'm going to be a little harder on Ringo than John is, but I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with the way he explained it. I'm good with the way he kind of not justified it, but I'm good with the way he explained that that's not something where you just you sell because of that, right? And look, you know, sometimes we're fans. We can be a little emotional, so that's what being a fan is. So, but awesome, good explanation. Not going to go much longer tonight. I don't know if I'm going to have a voice in the morning. I've been live for a long time now. This is good prep. It's preseason, right? So once the season gets here, my voice will be warmed up and ready to go, baby. Ready to freaking go. These vocal cords are getting the work that are needed, that is necessary for success in the long season we have coming up. I will end on this note. And give me 1 second because I got to pull the interview that John just did. Epic interview. Love talking to him. Great stuff there. Give me 1 second. I got a specific note I'm going to end on, all right? A specific note that I will end on. All right, just give me 1 sec, guys. I'm sorry. I'm doing a little producing on the fly right now. Little producing on the fly. Apologize. Okay, pulled that. All right. The note I want to end on is this. How exciting is it to have Eagles football back, man? How exciting is it to have Eagles football back? I was so excited tonight, and I had such a good time calling the preseason game with all the great people of JAKIB Nation. And I just love Eagles football. Like all these other sports, Eagles football is so good, it's ruining other sports for me. Because they just don't get me excited. They just don't make me feel, they don't give me the butterflies, you know? Fucking the birds give me the butterflies, bro. Like Birds game, you're like, oh, I'm jacked up, I'm ready to go. Get on the TV. I gotta watch every second of the pre. Like, I love it, man. It's so great to have football back. It's such a fun, great time of the year. It's such an honor and a privilege for me to be able to be up here and, you know, be somebody that you guys listen to talking about this team that we all love. So I can't thank you enough for that, and that I appreciate you enough for that. It is an honor. All right, it really is. I don't take it lightly. I don't think about it lightly. I take it very seriously, and I'm very honored to do it. So thank you all so much. But, man, what a great thing. What a great freaking thing to have football back on the horizon, the Eagles back in jerseys on the field, and we get to watch it all, man. So I'm just so excited about what's in front of us and what's to come this season. Thank you all for being here. A great day of coverage here on JAKIB, as it always is. For those who are new here this summer, this season, we do it all year long. We're going to be better. We're going to be bigger. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to give great content. We're going to continue to do what we do to make this a great place to be, to watch Eagles football, to enjoy the commentary, to talk about our favorite football team, and to do all those things. Thank you all. Great night. Great show. I love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES Eagles.